So, did Jody Wilson-Raybould attend this fundraiser just as an MP and not as a Justice Minister? Does the event meet the high ethical bar the Prime Minister set for his own cabinet? Joining me now from Toronto, Ontario Liberal MP Marco Mendicino. In Edmonton, Conservative Deputy Justice critic Michael Cooper. And from the NDP Convention, which is also in Edmonton, the NDP ethics critic Alexandre Boulgris. Nice to see you all, gentlemen.
Happy Friday.
Hello. Marco Mendicino, I'm going to start with you. And I want to remind viewers about how this invitation to this event was actually characterized. The subject line was a reception with the Federal Minister of Justice. And the email went on to say, "Dear friends and colleagues, I am part of an organizing committee hosting a private event in support of the Liberal Party of Canada featuring Minister of Justice Jody Wilson-Raybould. In her new role, she has an extraordinary mandate which includes inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women, the legalization of marijuana and assisted dying legislation. This will be the minister's first private event in Toronto," and that came from Mitch Fraser, who I asked to come on the show actually yesterday and wasn't available. So, Marco Mendicino, in light of that invitation, was Jody Wilson-Raybould at this event as a minister or an MP?
She attended in her capacity as a member of Parliament. I didn't hear anything that was factually inaccurate in the invitation, and I think that it bears repeating for some who may be questioning all of this, that fundraising is a perfectly legitimate and legal form of political activity. It needs to be, given the fact that we don't have public subsidies anymore. So naturally, it would be part of the MP's role to go and attend these events. And we rely in the Liberal Party on individual contributions, close to 56,000 in the Q4 of 2015 alone. What we don't do is break the law. We follow the law. And that's why in this particular context, the Member of Parliament did consult with the Ethics Commissioner, who vetted the event and said that it was fine, that it met the threshold. So, in the context,
and I completely agree with you. It was a legal event, and it follows, according to the Ethics Commissioner, the guidelines that she has laid out. What it does not follow, however, are the Liberal government's own guidelines that you put in place. Particularly this line that says there should be no preferential access to government or appearance of preferential access accorded to individuals or organizations because they have made financial contributions to politicians and political parties. And that applies to the minister. You're a lawyer. Do you believe that she lived up to the spirit of that rule?
I do. I think she lived up to the spirit of that rule.
How so?
Well, first of all, this is not the only event that the member attended. She attends numerous events. She attends events in her riding, as she has for the last 2 non-sitting weeks. She is accessible. She speaks with people who contribute to the Liberal Party. I'm quite sure that she speaks with, and I know for a fact that she speaks with numerous groups and organizations who do not contribute to the Liberal Party. And I think that is very much consistent with the part of the letter that you just read out.
Okay, Michael Cooper, you've written to the Ethics Commissioner, who has said, pre-approved the event. As Marco Mendicino rightly points out, there's nothing illegal happening here. So what are your issues around the event?
Well, the minister in attending the event has clearly blurred the line between Liberal Party business and government business. And what's more, as you pointed out, she almost certainly violated the Code for Open and Accountable Government set out by the Prime Minister in November. But more seriously than that, the minister may have actually crossed the line and broke the law by contravening Section 16 of the Conflict of Interest Act by putting herself in a conflict of interest. Here you have a minister, the Minister of Justice, the top lawyer in Canada, attending a fundraising event, a secret fundraising event, exclusively billed to lawyers, in her capacity as Minister of Justice. It was advertised that she was appearing as Minister of Justice, not as MP for Vancouver-Granville. And not only was it advertised that she was appearing as Minister of Justice, it was advertised as an opportunity for attendees to discuss with the minister matters that pertain directly to her responsibility as minister.
I'll take issue with one thing you said there, and that's the characterization of the event as secret. I think if it was secret, we wouldn't have found out about. I think private would probably be a fairer interpretation of what the event was. But
We wouldn't have found out about it until it was leaked through the CBC.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, anyway.
That's factually inaccurate.
Okay, so I'll come back to you, Mr. Mendicino, I promise. Alexandre Boulris, though, I want to hear from your perspective. If the ethics commissioner says, okay, you are allowed to fundraise, all of you do it, what is your issue here with this event?
You know, it's not because maybe the ethics commissioner said it is okay that everything is morally founded or that the rules should not be changed. Because, you know, it's not really that Canada is back in the world, is that what we see there is that the good old same liberals are back with the same, you know, tactics to raise money with their friends, with their law firms, and it's clearly violate the mandate letter that the minister received. And you quoted it just before, saying that, you know, there should not be any appearance of preferential access to a minister because you can give money. We're talking about $500. There's not a lot of people in Canada that can afford that.
And I'll apologize to viewers. There's a lot of excitement at the NDP convention, so that's what you're hearing behind Mr. Boulris. Marco Mendicino, yes. So as a lawyer, would you be comfortable attending an event full of other lawyers who had paid to meet you?
Well, I have done that, and I don't think that it would be the last time. I think there are some questions around the allegations of this being secret, and I think you're right to point that out to my colleague from the Conservative Party. The people who participated in that event and contributed to that event have an obligation to report their contributions, and so they will be publicly disclosed. So I really take issue with the use of the word secret. I also think that, you know, there's something about the old parable of stones and glass houses here. All parties engage in fundraising. This is a legitimate form of political activity. We need to embark on these type of activities.
Yeah, and again, though, Mr. Mendicino, I feel like you're trying to change the channel a little bit. I am not questioning the Liberal Party's right to fundraise or Jody Wilson-Raybauld's right to fundraise. What I am asking is whether in her capacity of Minister of Justice, given the guidelines that your Prime Minister introduced with great fanfare when he created his cabinet, whether she has crossed a line.
No, the answer is she has not. And
why?
The reason
What's your evidence that she has not?
Well, my evidence is that this is not the only event that she has attended. She's not showing any preference to an exclusive group of individuals who wish to support the Liberal Party or the government's platform for that matter. She has attended numerous other fundraisers, I'm sure, not at the same price point, not in the same forum, and more to the point, she makes herself accessible to an array of organizations and individuals who wish to engage with our government. And that is why it is consistent with the open and transparency principles that we have espoused.
But then it sounds like the principles, if she's accessible everywhere to everyone, what's the point in the principles?
Well, the point is that we need to raise money. And I keep coming back to this because I hope that it's well understood that this is a legitimate form of political activity. So we live in the real world, and the real world is that as long as the public has decided not to subsidize political parties, we have an obligation to go out there and to raise money. This is legitimate. Yeah. All parties do it. We're transparent about it. We don't accept contributions from unions or from corporations. We accept contributions from individuals to the reasonable cap of $1,500.
Yes,
and we require those who contribute to us to report.
Yeah, but this is the Justice Minister and Attorney General of Canada meeting in a law firm with, I guess, a bunch of lawyers. So I think there are questions about whether that's acceptable, given the guidelines, again, that your party created. I didn't make them. You guys put them out there. I wouldn't bring them to you if you hadn't written them down somewhere.
And I think we've abided by them, Rosie, and I think that you understand why I say that.
I don't actually, but I take, you know, that's what you say. I'm not sure I agree with that, Michael Cooper.
If the minister has nothing to hide and everything is above board, then one thing the minister could do is publicly release the list of attendees. I've called on her to do that today, and she hasn't done so. Of course, that wouldn't take away the other substantive concerns that were raised in my letter. I would say, in addition, that I don't agree that this satisfies the Ethics Commissioner's guidelines. I think that there's a strong case to be made that the conduct of the minister in attending this event actually contravenes the Commissioner's guidelines with respect to fundraising.
But for now, all you've done is ask for something, and she hasn't agreed to investigate, nor has she said that the Justice Minister has broken any rules. So that's your interpretation of the Ethics Code, but that has not been proven, to be fair.
It hasn't been proven, but the Ethics Commissioner's fundraising code provides that a minister shall not solicit funds from an organization or a lobbyist that has dealings with that minister or that minister's department.
Okay.
Here we have a minister who has responsibility and authority for the law at the federal level, and we have a law firm that has extensive legal dealings with the federal government. And not only that, we have a law firm that engages in lobbying, including a senior partner at that firm who is registered as a lobbyist to lobby, guess who? The minister, up until the eve of the event.
Yeah, who's no longer registered. Alexandre Boulgris, what do you think the government needs to do now then?
I think they need to change the rules and the guideline that has been adopted by the Liberals is, more or less a copy-paste of what was applying with the Conservative government before. So the people, the citizens have great hope in the new government. Liberals have promised big change, more openness and transparency, and what we see right now is really, it's a deception, a huge deception for everybody, not only NDPers, because now we cannot distinguish what is partisan, fundraising partisan, and governmental business, and the Liberals are trying to mix it up, and it's true, it's blurring the lines. I think we have to tighten the rules, and I think the Liberals should not do the same thing that they were arguing against when the Conservatives were in power.
Let me read one more part of the open and accountable government document, again, that was written by the Liberal government when it came into power. It says the following: ministers and parliamentary secretaries should ensure that the solicitation of political contributions on their behalf does not target departmental stakeholders or other lobbyists and employees of lobbying firms. So Marco Mendicino, I'll just ask you the question again. Do you think that the Minister of Justice at that event last night encountered any departmental stakeholders, lobbyists, or employees of lobbying firms?
Well, I wasn't there, so I don't want to mislead your audience, and I obviously would need to see the fundraising list. But the point of the matter,
us too. We'd love to see that. That would be excellent.
Well, but what I would say is that look, I'm sure there are an array of individuals who attended the event, and they did so in the spirit of contributing to the party. There's absolutely nothing illegal about that. It's a legitimate form. We've lived up to the standards of openness.
But you agree that it contravenes your own policy and your open and accountable government document?
I believe that it adheres to it, Rosie.
In what way does it adhere to it?
Well, in the sense that we have been there, in the sense that it hasn't offended any of the Elections Act laws, in the sense that it hasn't shown any preference for a particular audience, in the sense that there has been nothing otherwise untoward about the event.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thank you all.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Marco Mendicino, Michael Cooper, and Alexandre Boulgris in a busy Edmonton. Thanks, guys.